test to first giving honor to God, who is the source of all my strength. I'd like to say good morning to all of you and let you know what indeed a pleasure, a privilege, and an honor it is for me to have the opportunity to stand before you. Special thanks to the pastor or the reverends here at Ahiah, Reverend Scott and Reverend Michael. Test one, test two, test. Thank you so much. Good morning, good morning, good morning. 1, 2, 3. I just want to say thank you, and I feel blessed and grateful, and today and tomorrow and for days to come, I am grateful to be right here, right now. Peace. And do you just need me to be louder or to get closer? Now, bear in mind, when I get to the king, it's going to be loud. Sure. If there had been a man among you, one with courage and conviction, then perhaps, I'm getting a thumbs up back there. Is that good for you? I have a dream today. One day, this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all test. Thank you.
Hello and greetings. This is Master Syo coming to you from the Ahiah Center for Spiritual Living in Pasadena, California. Thank you very much for joining us for our powerful healing meditation. Ho'oponopono is a Hawaiian word that basically means to set things right or to get things back into balance. And it is a powerful healing mantra that is fast spreading throughout the world. The concept is really very simple and consists of 4 simple sentences. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I love you. These sentences are most generally used in that sequence. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Although they can be mixed in the sequence, so it's not that important. Each sentence is a powerhouse all by itself. This concept of acknowledging that you have done wrong is extremely powerful, because if we don't own up to our part in screwing things up, we will really not get anywhere, or it would take a long time to try and bring things into balance. The second of please forgive me is, after acknowledging your culpability or your part in something that has gone wrong, it is very important to ask for forgiveness. Some of us are suffering from too much ego, we don't want to ask for forgiveness. The third principle is thank you, which connotes gratitude for whatever measure of forgiveness will be given to you or granted unto you by the person that you hurt. And of course, the final sentence, I love you, is the most popular expression by far in every language known to man worldwide. This concept of ho'oponopono is a profoundly Zen concept. It is very, very simple, but extremely powerful. Although it has been popularized mostly in Hawaii, the concept of ho'oponopono is integral and has been for millennia in all the islands of the Pacific, including Hawaii, New Zealand, which is known indigenously as Aotearoa, Tahiti, Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, Vanuatu, and so on. In our islands of the Pacific, wrongdoing is acknowledged perhaps more readily than in many other cultures. Our people kind of like living from the heart, sometimes to our detriment, and we also like to not overthink problems. We basically whittle down very complex issues into their simplest forms in order to formulate an easy resolution. Thus, the birth of ho'oponopono. Here's a very powerful example from everyday life in the islands. Say that someone came and attacked you, or attacked your brother or sister, or did some very malicious act towards you. After a few days of anger and wishing to extract some form of payment or to issue a severe retribution to the party that wronged you, quite often that party would come and say, I'm very sorry, man. I didn't mean to do this, and I'm here to ask for your forgiveness. And they would talk a little while, and the hurt party would consider it for a few moments or minutes, and then from heart to heart would say, okay, I understand why you attacked me or my family so viciously, but I also understand that you are a human being like myself, so I accept your apology and I forgive you. And the perpetrator would accept this, most often with prolonged bouts of crying and more apologies, and sometimes a gift of food and livestock, sometimes much more. And then the perpetrator and the victim would come to a reconciliation and things would return to normal. This is the basic concept of ho'oponopono, setting things right. acknowledging your part in a conflict, expressing sorrow for committing a bad act, asking for forgiveness, thanking the victim for offering you forgiveness or showing mercy, and then reiterating the love that should bind all human beings. People today sometimes resolve their own inner conflicts by chanting the Ho'oponopono prayer, this very simple prayer from the islands. Other people, like in the old days, conflicts that were routinely resolved with Ho'oponopono were supervised or directed by an elder of the families or the village, and the families or extended families or the village would all perform openly the protocol of Ho'oponopono by saying, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you." Can you imagine how powerful this would be if you and, say, a loved one would sit down and face each other and just say these words, "I am sorry." The other person would say, "I'm sorry too. Please forgive me." The other person would say, "Please forgive me too." Then you'd say, "Thank you for forgiving me." The other person would respond likewise. And then you have to bind all these concepts together by expressing the most beloved words in the entire world, "I love you." Very basic concepts, very simple to use, but extremely powerful. I urge you to use these words either silently at times of conflict in your mind over, say, a difficult issue of whether you should forgive someone or ask for forgiveness, or whether you should openly say, "I love you" to someone. These 4 sentences would be a very powerful way of restoring harmony to a relationship, for example, that might be heading for the rocks. These sayings actually generate profound healing energies that are carried over from one's lips through these tiny particles of light known as biophotons to the recipient and vice versa. And all of these two-way communications of openness about culpability or having done something wrong, of humility in asking for forgiveness, in gratitude by saying "thank you for forgiving me," and again expressing love for your fellow human being. After we get past our monkey mind, the resolution of conflicts become very easy. So I would request that in times of difficulties such as we're experiencing these days with COVID-19 and also in our daily lives, we practice the art of Ho'oponopono. In a little while, I'm going to transmit these ideas through my third eye, which is about here, and I would request that you keep your eyes focused right about here and observe and acknowledge whatever it is that will come to you. The mere act of observation and acknowledgement generates a positive energy to be triggered in your own being and in others. So as you're looking at me, I'm sending you these powerful healing biophotons, and I also receive the same from you. Following that, we would go into a deeper phase of our healing meditation by your just watching my eyes and listening to me chanting the Ho'oponopono prayer. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. So keeping your eyes open, or perhaps if you feel like closing them, that's okay, but at least initially, focus here, please. Very shortly, you will be looking directly at my eyes and continue to observe and acknowledge whatever you see and whatever you hear. If you happen to fall asleep, that is also good, and just continue to enjoy the experience. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Now please, very gently, open your eyes. You will notice how much brighter your surroundings are and how much more vivid and beautiful everything around you looks. The colors are brighter and you may be in a very happy mood. This is normal. It means that you have been in touch with yourself and allowed yourself to heal at all levels, physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. So I congratulate you. If you can, please join us for our regular celebration service led by our senior minister, the Reverend Scott Olson. This is Master Sio. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Master CEO. That idea of Ho'oponopono is such a wonderful way for us to be in the world because it reminds us that we can take responsibility for our own thoughts, for our own actions, and that is always within our control. And we can make the world a much, much, much better place as we move forward from here. So thank you for doing that meditation, for bringing that message. And we so appreciate having you here at Ahiah in the morning. I want to ask the people who have come to see your service if they'd be willing to donate a few dollars, maybe $5 to Ahiah. That will help us to keep Master CEO on the air, so to speak. And so if you would do that, there are 3 ways for you to do it. They're showing up on your screen right now. One is to go to ahiah.com/donate, and you can, for the source or the fund that you want to pick, you can just pull the drop-down box and do Master CO. And or 2, you can text to give at the telephone number on the screen, which is 616-229-2225. Or lastly, you can always send us a check. We love having a check from you. And so you can send it to us at Ahiah at 150 North El Molino Avenue, Pasadena, California, 91101. However you do that, know that whatever that you give to Ahiah, know that that comes here. It helps to fund our beautiful center and the message that we give each and every Sunday, the work that we do throughout the week, and all the other work that we do in the community. So we appreciate everything that you give. And so we're going to be starting our celebration service in just a few minutes. We would love for you to go ahead and be here. And Chris is going to play us a little bit we just got a couple minutes before 11 o'clock comes up, Chris. Good morning, Ahiah. It's so good to have you here with us today. It's so good to be here with you today. I would say God morning, because that's what Reverend Mike always says. And I believe he's going to be rejoining us next week. We're still kind of following his progress. He's doing much, much better. And he always talks, when I see him and talk to him, he talks about being surrounded in a bubble of prayer, because we have been keeping him well prayed up. And so I think he feels much better. His energy's coming back. And so maybe, just maybe, he'll be back with us next week. So we want to send him our love and our prayers still. And so I just want to give you a few acknowledgments, or have a few acknowledgments for our folks that are here today that make this service possible. We have some wonderful music in store for you today. We've got Elizabeth Hangan as our singer. Let's give Elizabeth a round. And then for our band, we've got our music director, Chris Sklick, on the piano, tickling those keys over there. And we've got Leon on the bass, and we've got Brian on the drums. So we got a great band here for you today. And we're going to be having Jackie Owens as our practitioner. She's going to be doing our invocation reading. So thank you, Jackie. And then I would like to honor a few of the people that are here today that make our service possible. First of all, in our sound booth, we have Gloria. Thank you, Gloria. And we have Harris in the back there hitting all the keys. And then we have a couple of moderators. So we have on Facebook, we have Louise Mucha. On Zoom, we have Mindy Morrison. And on YouTube, we have Peter Bedard. So let's just say thank you to all of them. Thank you for your service. Thank you for helping us to put this service on. And thank you for creating such a loving environment for everybody. So we are going to be having a guest speaker today, and I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about Gerald Rivers in a few moments, but let's just give him a hand, give him a nice warm Ahiah welcome. So, it's going to be a beautiful morning. You know, we had a lovely, beautiful week, a little bit of rain. Did you hear that Mammoth got 8 feet plus of snow? Can you imagine 8 feet of snow? I know that we need the water, so it's good that we got the snow, but it would have been nice to have spread it out over a few days, maybe. 8 feet of snow. But today is a beautiful, sunny, lovely day here in downtown Pasadena, which is where we're coming from. We're coming from our sanctuary, and we're still virtual only right now. But, you know, as we get people vaccinated and the counts start coming down, we'll be talking about how to be in person. The board has been talking about parking lot church for a while, and we put it off until the numbers were in a little bit better range. And so we're still not doing it right now, but eventually I think that'll be our first stop. We'll have people being able to park in our parking lot and be able to socialize with the windows down. You can yell at your neighbors, and it'll be great. So, but for right now, we're not doing that. We're just doing a virtual. And so I welcome you to our virtual Sunday service. And so now what I'd like to ask you to do is just take a deep breath with me. You know, just and let it all out as we prepare for our meditation video, followed by Jackie Owens doing our invocation, our reading.
You with the sad eyes, don't be discouraged. Oh, I realize it's hard to take courage in a world full of people. You can lose sight of it all, and the darkness inside you makes you feel so small. But I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful, yeah, like a rainbow. Show me a smile then. Don't be unhappy. Can't remember when I last saw you laughing. If this world makes you crazy, you've taken all you can bear. You call me up, 'cause you know I'll be there. And I see your true colors, they're shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful, yeah, like a rainbow. If this world makes you crazy, see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful, yeah, like a rainbow.
Good morning to my Ahiah family and to my world family at large. My name is Jacqueline Owens, and I'm blessed to be a practitioner here at the Ahiah Center for Spiritual Living in Pasadena. This morning, I'm here to give prayer and a reading for all of our people who came to listen. So if you will join me, taking a deep, centering breath, knowing that God is all that there is. There is only one life, one love, one peace, one wholeness. There is only one. Everything that there has ever been, everything that there will ever be, and everything that there is at this very moment in time is the one. It is God. I am and you are a part of everything that there is at this very moment. I am and you are what God is. God is what I am and what you are. We are all divine individualizations of the one. And knowing this to be the truth of who we are, I know that the blessings of life from the one is here for us. If we get quiet in that moment and listen for the voice that brings us peace, that brings us love, that brings us the awareness of wholeness in our lives, the wholeness of health, not the illusion that we see out here, but the wholeness of health in the one, the wholeness of love, mending all relationships and bringing all of us together as one. This is the aligning with God, the still small voice that guides us to a better world, to a better life. And knowing this, I give grateful thanks. Grateful thanks for knowing who we are, who I am, who you are. I give grateful thanks for those who are in service, who take the stand and say, I will serve. I give and allow Spirit to speak through him to give us the words of Spirit. I give grateful thanks to all of the musicians who come into this building to share their talents and give us the joy of the sound of Spirit, the voice of Spirit. And I do give grateful thanks to everyone who has come into this place to serve others, the volunteers here at Ahiah who have served before and will serve again when the time comes. I am so thankful for it all. And I release these words to the law, knowing that Spirit has heard us and has blessed us all. And so I let it be in my life and in your life right now. And so it is. Amen and amen. The reading today is from the Science of Mind magazine for January, and it is the last day of January, Sunday, January 31st, and it's called This Blessed Day. I say more, the just man justices. Keep grace that keeps all his goings graces. The Enlightened Heart, page 118. We are to live today as though God were in his heaven, while all is well with our souls. The Science of Mind, page 432. No matter what plans, policies, and possibilities we may have before us, we can only live them one day at a time. Even though we are heir to infinite resources and can look far into the future in our thoughts, because we are currently being caught in time and space, we can only really handle this day, this moment. Consequently, it is fruitless to regret what happened yesterday or worry about what may take place tomorrow. We are wise to concentrate our energies upon what lies before us now. Yesterday, however, can help us to deal more effectively, more lovingly with today's needs if we choose to learn from what happened before. Today can be a blessing if we choose to make it so. We can come to it with a clear mind and illuminate thinking. And what would happen if we came into this day with a new mind, a mind not stuck in the past, a mind more fearless than ever? We can choose to make this new year the best one yet in so many ways. We can correct what needs renewing. We can heal situations that need our attention. We can decide to bring more love to bear in all of our interactions, both casual and intimate. Yes, this is the time, and today is the day. And our affirmation for today is, in deepest peace, love, and gratitude, I give great thanks for the gifts of the Spirit that come to me each day. I accept newness. I accept blessedness. I accept healing at every level this very day. And so it is. Namaste.
Got to turn the sound on. So, thank you, Jackie. That was a beautiful prayer. And so now we have Elizabeth Hangan, and her and the band are going to grace us with a beautiful song. Take it away, Elizabeth.
Good morning, Ahiah. Happy New Year. It's been beautiful so far, a little challenging in sometimes, but mostly very beautiful. And I'm looking forward to 2021. The song I'm going to do is this particular song was written by our own Chris Glick. Yes, we're doing original songs today. Yes, Ahiah in the house. Song is entitled Hard Times. Hard times, yes, it's some hard times. Oh, yes, but people stand fast. They go on. Hear the voices of the children as they play. Listen to the mockingbird, hear the bluebird sing. Please listen to them now. Hard times, yes, it's some hard times. Oh, yes, but people stand fast. They go on. Feel the spirit reach deep inside. Feel the sunshine in your heart. Let it shine its everlasting light. Feel the spirit reach deep inside. Feel the sunshine in your heart. Let it shine its everlasting light. 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 Well done, Chris.
Absolutely.
Well done, Dan.
Yeah. Chris, that's beautiful. I think I'm standing here thinking we need to we need to do an original soundtrack for Ahiah. You know, put out a CD. I just think so. Yeah, I know you do. We are so fortunate here at Ahiah. The level of talent here is so high in our music, as well as our practitioner corps and our volunteers. We have so many wonderful people that make up this community. And I am so, so, so grateful. Thank you, guys. So, wow, I've lost track of my thoughts. So we do have a guest speaker today, and his name is Gerald Rivers. And if you want to know all the details, you can always go see our newsletter, and you know, you can read a little bit more about his past. I'm not gonna talk about that. But I do want to just mention that he was here a few weeks ago. He was recording a session that was going live to China, I believe it was, Gerald, right? And it was a symposium over in China, and I was just amazed. It was my first time with him live. I had seen him on video before, but you know, it really rang to my heart. I was so happy when he said yes that day, that he absolutely could show up today. And it wasn't just his the voice of Martin Luther King. It was also the way he answered the questions that they gave him. And so what I experienced that day was a lovely soul who opened his heart. And so I'm going to ask him to come on up and open his heart once again. Thank you, Gerald.
I feel like all the hearts are open already. I just want to say first, giving honor to God, who is the source of all my strength, all that I am, all that I ever was, and all that I could ever hope to be. Giving honor to Reverend Scott and to Reverend Michael in his absence and in his complete health, wholeness, and well-beingness. I just want to thank you and say good morning to all of you, and to let you know what indeed an honor, a pleasure, and a privilege it is for me to have the opportunity to stand before you today. As Gerald C. Rivers, the voice of Dr. King, that basically means that I've been reminding people about the words and works of the late, great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. for the last 30 plus years. Now, the truth is, when I began this work, I had no idea that I would still be doing it now. But sometimes the universe has plans for you, and your job is to just say yes and to participate. So I began when I was 17 years old, and I did a show, and we went on tour, and I came back and did a little presentation at my mom's church, and then wound up at the Compton Library, and then for the Boy Scouts and schools, and like the old saying goes, and they told two friends, and so on and so on. And I'm now 55 years old, and I'm still doing this work. And it has carried me across the country and around the globe. And for a kid from Compton who grew up in a very violent and less than pleasant time in the late 70s, early 80s, it has brought me personally so much solace and so much peace and so much purpose. So often we find ourselves in jobs and situations that we do because we don't know what else to do. And sometimes we wind up doing things that we hate. And we get up every morning, we go to the same job, and we see the same people, and we do the same thing. And a little piece of our soul is asking, what in heaven's name are you doing with your life? So often my greeting to people is beyond hello and how are you? It is, what are you doing with your life today? And I think that's the question I would pose to the viewing audience today. What are you doing with your life today? This weekend, we begin celebrating the season for nonviolence. And for those who don't know, the season began in 1998 with Arush Gandhi, who is Mahatma Gandhi's grandson, and he joined forces with Reverend Michael and the New Thought movement to create the Season for Nonviolence, which would go from the end of January when Gandhi died until April 4th when King died. And in between, there would be 64 days and 64 ways of peace. And if you don't know or you'd like to find out, you just go online and look for the Season for Nonviolence, sponsored by the Association of Global New Thought and Arush Gandhi. So every day during the Season for Nonviolence, a new principle is celebrated and or practiced. And today, in the early part of the season, the principle for the day is courage. It's the idea of having the courage to practice peace. And I need to say a couple of things about that. One, being courageous does not mean that you don't have fear. It does not even mean that you have to be brave. It simply means that you are willing to do it anyway. And so I've been telling people this year, as I've been giving talks since the beginning of the year, and we're in this new remote environment where in some ways I'm able to reach more people because people can tune in. But the truth is, I miss being in a room with hundreds or thousands of people and having us all in one accord or on one radio station, just tuning in together. Because when I do these talks from Martin Luther King, I have to share with you, I've been doing them for so long and I have so many speeches committed to memory that what you hear is not in the way that it was delivered 50 or 60 years ago. And here's why. They are all his words. But today, the idea is nonviolence. So I have what amounts to a catalog or a library that will put a collage or a mashup or a mixtape of Martin Luther King's speeches dealing with this issue in a way that has never been heard in this way before and will never be heard in this way ever again. So I welcome you when the time comes to just open your hearts and open your minds to an experience. And I have to share with you that it is also an experience for me, because I don't know exactly what is going to come out of my mouth. But what has to happen, and again, we keep talking about practice, is I have to be willing to know that I have prepared my whole life for this moment, that everything that has taken place has brought me to right here intentionally and with purpose. And so then it becomes my job to trust that the universe, that the host of angels, that the spirits, the guides, the guardians, the universal consciousness will take over and say, if you just show up, you can get out of the way and we will move spirit through you to present what needs to be heard by someone. And I say that by someone because I've been doing this for decades and I've literally been in front of millions of people, and I will keep doing it with the hope and the intention of reaching just one person. That's my job. That's my desire. In the African tradition of each one teach one, I just want to reach one person and have that one person be affected in such a way that they take action that will eventually change the world for the better. My request is that you let that one person be you. And you get to choose. But I will keep doing it until somebody gets it. And I tell people all the time, the spirit of Dr. King, I think, is tired. It's like I've been saying the same thing. I've been telling you the same message for generations, for eons, for decades, for years, for weeks, for days, for months. I just want you to hear it. But I say that to say, for me, the experience is like sitting in the audience, listening as if I've heard these words for the first time, in spite of the fact that I've said them hundreds or thousands of times. But what I'm asking you to do is not just to hear what I'm saying, but to hear what I'm hearing. Because there's a greater message that always comes through. in terms of this season for nonviolence, and that's why Reverend Scott invited me to come here today and be present with you. I tell people, you don't have to be brave or courageous. You just have to be willing. You don't have to do everything, but you can do something. And you don't even have to be charismatic, but you do have to care. And those are all things that we can do. The world we live in today is a mess. There's so many things that are going on, and not just with the politics and the rhetoric and the elections and the disputes and the arguments, but all you have to do is go outside here in Pasadena and walk a few blocks, and you will find people sleeping on the street. Like, how is it that in 2021, King is born in 1929, so here we are almost 100 years later and after the Great Depression, and what is our greatness? We have more millionaires and billionaires on the face of the planet than we have ever had in human history. And we have more people sleeping on the street with no place to go than we have ever had in human history. Something is out of kilter. And the beauty is we also have more conscious, awake, and aware people on the planet than we have ever had in human history. And we're waiting for that watershed moment where that one person gets it and it becomes the tipping point, and all of a sudden it becomes the majority of thought and feeling and idea and hope. Let that one person be you. You might be the one person we're waiting on to tip this thing over so that we can have what Dr. King called the beloved community, where every person will respect the dignity and the worth of human personality. Because each of us has a unique set of gifts, talents, abilities, capacities that nobody else has. And I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. And you can never be what you are to be until I am what I ought to be. This is the way the world is made. It's called the interrelated structure of reality. And we need each other. And we need each other to do your part. We have enough pyramid scheme salespeople on the planet right now. We don't need somebody else that will join a scheme that they think will help them get rich. We have enough. The truth is, we have enough of everything. We have enough food, we have enough clothes, we have enough money, we have enough jobs, we have enough homes, we have enough hopes and dreams to take care of the planet over and again. The problem is, some people are doing somebody else's job. There are janitors who probably have hands that could have been doctors. There are people who are working at the grocery store who probably should have been therapists. But somewhere in their development, in their evolution, they felt like, I can't have what I really want out of life because life has beat me up and it's kept saying no. So I'm going to settle for this and I'm just going to do this. And then not only are they miserable, but they're depriving the rest of the world of their gifts, their talents as musicians, as artists, as poets, as singers. And the truth is, people say, well, if you do those things, you're not going to make any money. The reality is, some people decided, I'm going to work for the post office, and they put in 35 years, and then they retired with not enough money to take care of themselves, and they died in debt. If that's true, you might as well do something you love. Because what I know to be true is if you do what you love, somebody will love what you do. Somebody's been waiting on you to offer your gift and your talent and your unique set of abilities to free them, to give them permission to do what they are meant to do, what they're put on the planet to do. Anyway, I'm going to try not to digress too much. But this is all relative to the idea of a season for nonviolence, Because nonviolence, as King teaches me, not only calls upon its adherents to avoid external physical violence, but it calls upon them to avoid internal violence of spirit as well. And when you are chasing somebody else's dream instead of your own, you're violating your own spirit. You're not being true to who you are or why you were put here. And you can begin today. In this practice of nonviolence and being courageous for today, ironically enough, for tomorrow, if you get through today, the practice is one of smiling. That is the practice for tomorrow. To have the courage to smile and to think about, why am I not smiling? And to take action and smile at someone that you would ordinarily not smile at. Now, here's our challenge, and they taught nonviolence here in the city of Pasadena. When we practice this idea of nonviolence, we begin by saying, okay, I know that they have worked on my nerves, but today I'm going to be nonviolent and I'm going to go in and I'm going to offer peace. And sometimes it's like the practice of having a fight with Mike Tyson. You have a great plan until you get hit in the mouth. So you show up and you're prepared to be nonviolent and you offer that and they do not respond in kind, and then you lose your mind. But this practice requires you, in spite of what they do, to go forward in it. It gives you the opportunity to go deeper in your practice of nonviolence rather than abandoning it at the first off-ramp. Because if they were already there with you, we wouldn't have all this practice to do. So they need us. The politicians need us. When somebody offers this vile rhetoric, they need somebody to respond not in kind, but with kindness, and leave them with that by themselves. That's yours. I'm not taking that on. I'm choosing to be kind. I'm choosing to be nonviolent. It's interesting because the last time I was here at Ahiah was shortly after I lost my father. And I had a series of speaking engagements in January, and he died in January. And he'd lived a long life, but he was confined to a wheelchair for the majority of his life as a quadriplegic. And many times he was an unhappy man. My father was not the kind of person who would say, I love you, son. I'm proud of you. Good job. But that didn't mean that I didn't have a connection with this man. The irony is the last time I was here, I swore I saw him walking in the back of your sanctuary, just nodding in approval of the work that I was doing. He couldn't do it when he was here in the flesh, but now that he had the chance to be everywhere all the time, he could just show up and say, I got you, I see you. And I'm grateful for that experience. And it reminds me of growing up, because last night somebody sent me a message on Facebook. They said, hey, are you the same Gerald Rivers that went to Walton Junior High School in Compton in 1978? And I said, yeah. He said, my name is so-and-so. Do you remember me? No. And he explained that he remembered that I was a smart kid in an English class, and there were only 3 or 4 students who actively participated. And these people still get together, and they lost contact with me because I didn't go to school there longer. And I had to say to him, that was a long time ago, and I've gone through lots of changes since then. But he continued to say, I'm glad that your life is good. I'm glad that your life is better. And I just want to say, if you ever want to reach out to these brothers who still get together and just talk, that we're here for you. And I was overcome with a sense of peace and gratitude. So even this Facebook thing can be used for good, can be used for peace, can be used for love, can be used for reconciliation and renewal. When we practice today, let us remember that Peace is not simply the absence of violence or conflict. It is the presence of love and justice. I have to say that again. The idea of nonviolence is not merely the absence of conflict. It is the presence of peace, love, and justice. And it is not docile. Being nonviolent is not just sitting on the side and saying, I'm not going to do anything. It is actively participating in the promotion of peace and love and renewal for everybody. And that means we have to, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to jump in. We have to forgive everybody. I'll just let that sink. We have to forgive everybody. Nobody owes you an apology, and nobody owes you a thank you. If they did something wrong, it was really more about them than it was about you. And if you did something kind, you did it because it was the right thing to do, so they don't owe you anything. Forgiving everybody means you're giving forward. You're giving them something that you don't think they have earned or deserved. Because if they have to earn it and come to you and tell you, I'm sorry and I feel really bad before you can forgive them, that is not forgiveness, that's a negotiation. That's a transactional experience. Forgiveness is for the forgiver. Not forgiving them is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Because meanwhile, you are withholding. You are withholding love from somebody, and that's cancer. It's when something happens inside of the physical body that you refuse to move and you're holding on so tight to that it starts to destroy everything else about you. So not forgiving them is not the answer. Give forward. Forward give them. And in the hood, we used to say, you got to give people more credit than you think they're due. And here's why. One of two things is probably true. Either one, they deserve more credit than you were ready to give them, or two, they begin living up to the credit that you have offered them. It is a win, 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 win. I don't care what they did, because if they really understood that what they were doing was also affecting them, they would not have done it. It only represents their lack of evolution. And we've got to hold the space so that when they're ready, we can welcome them with open arms. We've got to create an environment that makes it okay for them to start engaging and behaving differently. And we can do it peacefully. We can do it nonviolently. So without any further ado, before I go off on, I could sit here and talk for a little while. I want to share with you some of the words of the late, great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., his teaching, his philosophy, his approach, and he gave us solid tools that we could use and apply even today. So without any further ado, I would like to share with you some of the words of the late, great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I ask you to open your hearts and open your minds and let that one person be you. The dilemma and the challenge facing the Negro today. You will remember that it was in the year of 1619 when the first Negro slaves landed on the shores of this great nation. They were brought here from the soils of Africa. And the Negro lived amid this system of slavery for 244 years. For all of these years, he was a thing to be used and not a person to be respected. And even after slavery ended, the Negro realized that he was confronting a new type of slavery. Because racial segregation is nothing but slavery covered up with certain niceties of complexity. This is our dilemma. This dilemma is at one and the same time a great challenge. We are challenged to mobilize our resources. For he who gets behind in a race must forever remain behind or run faster than the man in front. This is our dilemma. In spite of the fact that we have been victims of physical slavery 244 years, in spite of the fact that we have lived with segregated conditions for almost 100 years, the demands of history require that we be as productive, as resourceful, and as responsible as the people who never had these disadvantages. Here we are as a people, having experienced political domination, economic exploitation, segregation, and humiliation for well now 344 years, and yet the demands of history require that we be as productive, as responsible, and as resourceful as the people who never had these disadvantages. This is our dilemma. This dilemma is at one and the same time a great challenge. We are challenged to mobilize our resources. We are challenged to mobilize all the constructive forces that we can muster to make a creative contribution in the life of our nation. And I would like to suggest this morning some of the things that we must do to grapple with this dilemma and meet the challenge of the hour. First of all, we must develop and maintain a sense of dignity and self-respect. We must not allow anybody or any force to make us feel that we do not count. We must believe in our souls that we are worthful, that we are somebody, that we are significant. And we must walk the streets of life every day with this sense of dignity and this sense of somebodyness. And then we must work through the courts, through the ballot boxes. This is one of the most significant steps that the citizens can take at this hour, going to the ballot boxes. I've tried to talk in militant terms, but in the midst of this new militancy, let us always realize that we don't have to hate as we try to straighten this situation out. Let us always realize that we don't have to become bitter as we try to straighten this situation out. Oh, if there's any one thing I would like for you to remember this morning, it is the fact that somebody must have some sense in this world. Somebody must have sense enough to meet hate with love. Somebody must have sense enough to meet physical force with soul force. We will but try this way. We will be able to change these conditions, and yet at the same time win the hearts and souls of those who have kept these conditions alive. No, we need not hate. We need not use violence. There is another way. We're as old as the insights of Jesus of Nazareth, and as modern as the techniques of Mohandas K. Gandhi. There is another way. We're as old as Jesus saying, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, pray for them that despitefully use you. Every potential Peter, put up your sword. History is replete with the bleached bones of nations.
History is cluttered with the wreckage of communities that failed to follow this command. And isn't it marvelous to have a method of struggle where it is possible to stand up against an unjust system, fight it with all of your might, never accept it, and yet not stoop to violence and hatred in the process? There is another way. A way as old as Gandhi's saying through Thoreau, non-cooperation with evil is as much a moral obligation as is cooperation with good. There is another way. A way as old as Jesus saying, turn the other cheek. And when he said that, he realized that turning the other cheek might bring suffering sometimes. He realized that it might get you home bombed sometimes. He realized it might get you stabbed sometimes. He realized it might get you scarred up sometimes. But he was saying in substance that it is better to go through life with a scarred up body than a scarred up soul. There is another way. If we will but try this way, we will be the participants in a great building process. And I know we get frustrated, and we have a right to get frustrated. But in the midst of this frustration, let us always realize that black supremacy is as dangerous as white supremacy. God is not interested. God is not interested merely in the freedom of black men and brown men and yellow men, but God is interested in the freedom of the whole human race. The creation of a society where all men can live together as brothers, and every man will respect the dignity and the worth of human personality. No, we need not hate. We need to learn to love. And we need it in two ways. First, we need to learn how to love. In America, the white man must love the black man, and the black man must love the white man, and the brown man must love the yellow man, and the red man must love the green man, because we're all tied together. A single garment of destiny. And we can't keep having riots in our cities every summer. We can't keep having all of these problems all over our nation. Our white brothers have got to come to see one thing. We're in America and we're here to stay, and we ain't going nowhere. We got to learn how to live together. That's the basic need in this country. And also it goes into the struggle between nations. And I submit to you that what is wrong in the world today is that the nations of the world are caught up in a bitter and tragic contest for supremacy. Our nation must be supreme. Our nation must rule the world. I'm sad to say that the nation in which we live is the supreme culprit. God didn't call America to do what she's doing in the world now. God didn't call America to engage in senseless, unjust wars. We have bombs right now that can destroy a city as big as New York with everybody wiped away and every building. And they can do the same thing to us. We're drifting there because the nations are caught up. They haven't discovered that we're all tied together. But if we will practice this nonviolence, but if we will practice this love, we will be able to make of America a better nation, and to make of this world a better world. I know those are asking, how long will we have to live with this system? And I know many of you are asking, how long will prejudice blind the visions of men, darken their understanding, and drive bright-eyed wisdom from her sacred throne? When will wounded justice, lying prostrate on the streets of our cities, be lifted from this dust of shame to reign supreme among the children of men? When will the radiant star of hope be plunged against the nocturnal bosom of this lonely night, and pluck from weary souls the manacles of death and the chains of fear? How long will justice be crucified and truth buried? How long? I can only answer this morning Not long. How long? Not long. Because truth crushed to earth will rise again. How long? Not long. Because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. How long? Not long. Because you still reap what you sow. How long? Not long. Because truth forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne. Yet that scaffold sways our future. Behind the dim unknown standeth God within the shadows, keeping watch above his loan. How long? Not long. Because mine eyes have seen the glory and the coming of our Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He has loosed the fateful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. He has sounded forth the trumpet which shall never call retreat. He has lifted up the hearts of men before his judgment seat. Oh, be swift, my soul, to answer him. Be jubilant, my feet. Our God, our peace is marching on. Thank you. Thank you, and thank you, and thank you. And I just want to remind you that the teachings of MLK are not just for Black people. We all have our dilemmas and our challenges. We all have our situations and our circumstances, and we all have a job to do and a role to play in bringing forward the beloved country, the beloved community, the beloved world. And we can start today. Today is courage. You don't have to be courageous. You just have to care. Tomorrow is smiling. Practice smiling. Peace.
Well, thank you, Gerald. What a beautiful message. What a beautiful reminder. And what a beautiful way for us to move forward. And so let's just go into prayer with that idea. I know absolutely in this one life that we live, there is only the one God, the one power, the one Spirit. And it's a Spirit that is absolutely love and peace and joy. And I'm knowing absolutely, as there is only that one life, that we are sharing and mingled with and one with this divine presence. And so I'm knowing in that way that we are all one, that we all live in that one life. And so by definition, that life is the beloved life. It is the beloved community of all of us together. And so it's from that place of knowingness that I speak my word right here, right now, knowing absolutely that in this one life, that we get to see it clearly. We get to know it purely as the love that God is. I bless the knowing that Master Sio brought us this morning, the knowing of Ho'oponopono, that just says, I love you. That says it from the heart. And I bless Gerald today as he reminds us that there is another way, always. There's my way and then there's Spirit's way. And that way is a way of love and a way of peace and a way of joy. And so I know today, as we recognize that truth, that we move in the path of Martin Luther King, and we move in that way of another way of being, another way of living, another way of knowing our own life. And so I just say, thank you, Spirit. Thank you for knowing that truth. Thank you for allowing me to know for everyone this truth of love, of peace, of joy. And I just release this prayer to the law, knowing that it's already fulfilled in the mind that God is. And I say, life and God are good and very good. And together we say, and so it is. Amen and amen. And so now is the time for our conscious contributions. And so I know so many of you have already given out of your heart and out of your good and out of your abundance. And I want to thank you for that. And I know absolutely that for those of you who have not yet, that this is an opportunity for you to give consciously to this place, Ahiah, knowing that the money that you give is going for the work that we do here. The work like this service today, and like the healing service on Wednesday, and the book study on Tuesday, and all of the things that we do out in the world. And so I just want to invite you, if you have not yet contributed to Ahiah, that you can do it one of three ways. They're showing up on your screen right now. You can either go to ahiah.com/donate, or you can text to give, or you can send us a check. We love getting those checks. And so however you have given, let's just take that virtual contribution to our hearts and repeat or read along with me the blessing that is on your screen. This gift I give is God in action. I send it forth with joy, confidence, and ease. I am blessed by the law of giving as receiving, as I now share my gift with life. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And so it is. Amen and amen. And so now I'd like to welcome Elizabeth Hangan up to do, I believe, another original is what she was saying earlier. So let's hear it.
Guess I better take off my mask. Well, if you were here, you would feel the energy in the room is palpable, and it's hard to just sort of settle down and sing. Yeah. But Gerald, it's just wonderful, and thank you so much for your message this morning.
Let's give him another round.
Yes.
Thank you.
Reverend Scott, thank you for you today and everyone here today. This song is called Creative and Sustaining Force, and this is one that I wrote. So here we go. Also like to welcome Kyle in the house, in the country. Creative and sustaining source. Through you all life shall find its course, as the warmth of your eternal ray expands to welcome each new day. The glory of all life unfolds, revealed within refresh and gold. Revealed within refresh and gold. Dear spiritual power shall ever be the glory of eternity. Each atom of all time and space is your creation filled with grace and energized to reach its goal. Divinely acts reveals the soul. refinedly acts reveals the soul. The break of dawn awareness shows the wisdom of all nature knows. The seed that feeds on the gifts you give, in glory in its beauty live. And as the light is seen by all, awakened spirits live again. Awakened spirits live again. Come on, Leon! Hey! Yeah! We got some awakened spirits in here today. I'm telling you right now. Woo! Yeah! Break of dawn awareness shows. Thank you, Leon. The wisdom of all nature knows. The seeds that feeds on the gifts you give. Well, and the glory and the beauty lives. And the light is seen by all. Awakened spirits live again. Awakened spirits live again. Take me to the chorus, fellas. Dear spiritual power shall ever be the glory of eternity. Each atom of all time and space is your creation filled with grace and energized to reach its goal. Divinely acts reveals the soul. 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 Woo!
Oh my,
Right.
oh my. Well, if that's all we have to do is ask to reveal our soul.
That's what I hear. That's
I
what
hear
they tell
too.
me. That's
I
what they
hear
tell
too.
me.
That's what I hear.
Have found that to be true.
So, thank you, Elizabeth. So, we're going to just do a few announcements. Harris, which one's the first one up? Oh, I'm sorry. Board nominations. So, the nominating committee has been very active, and we're almost ready to ask people to do nominations. We're going to be reaching out to many people in our community to see what your interest is in being on the board. And we're going to have a page on the website that you'll be able to look at very, very soon, probably by Wednesday. So keep an eye on that. And second up is, my class, Beyond Limits. This is the second week, and so you're still welcome to join in this second week. The class is on Tuesdays from 6:30 to 9:30. And if you're interested, you can go to ahiah.com/classes to see a little bit more information about the class, and there's a registration button. If you hit that registration button, give me your email and phone number. I will get you all the information for the class, and you can get all caught up before Tuesday, even if you want. And even if you don't, you are still welcome to just drop in. So I'd love to see you there. And last of all, then, would be, yes. We have not seen James Johnson here at Ahiah for a number of years, but I know, and I believe you know, his wife, Grace Johnson. And James passed away. Actually, he passed away on Martin Luther King's birthday. And so we're going to be having a celebration life on the 13th of February at noon on Zoom, on our regular Zoom channel. So you can always just find it by going to ahiah.com/virtual and hitting the Go to Zoom button. And we'd love to have you there. We're going to have a lovely service. It'll all be virtual, only on Zoom. and then we'll have time for sharing after the service. So please, please, please come along. We'd love to have you there and to remember James. And so, with that, let's go ahead and do our benediction. So on your screen is showing our benediction. Just read along with me. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all of my affairs. I accept it. I am it. And I share it. Just the way it appears and just the way it appears not. Thank you, life. Amen and amen. And so I would love to see you in our fellowship room. I'll be there in just about 5 minutes as I get a few things done here, and then I'll meet you over there. Again, you can get there by going to ahiah.com/virtual, hit the Go to Zoom button, and you'll be right there. And if you're watching us on Zoom, you just stick around, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you, everyone. See you next week, and namaste.